people take away from the toolkit, that you don't have to be an expert to be inclusive. You have to listen to the real experts, who are people with disabilities. I work at a church. I know what church budgets are like. It's really hard to think about something like a capital campaign to put in elevators or even ramps and things. It can get a little intimidating and it can feel really big budget. Actually, what research has shown is that our attitudes can be a bigger barrier than those physical things. And what's really fascinating is a lot of faith communities that have worked hard on developing inclusive attitudes as we learn to value leadership skills, as we look around and ask who is missing in our community. Lots of times the resources that we think are going to be such a big deal have a way of coming to us. And what we've found is that when we can find the passions of kids with disabilities and kids without disabilities, that when we connect around their passions, that they can really contribute substantially in the life of the church. It does take a lot of work, and it does take great mentors. Mentorship and relationship is really key to this work. But right now I have a young man who's on the spectrum who loves animation. Anyway, he's done all of my Vacation Bible School Bible stories this year. He's done them in stop motion animation, and he did it as his Eagle Award, which is awesome. And he's a young man on the spectrum. So what I found in my real life ministry is that when we take a minute to consider the God-given strengths of the people in our ministry, that together we can do amazing things, including helping everybody express their gifts. One of my favorite stories ever, we took a ninth grader on a retreat. At that retreat, spending time with other kids who did know about his disability and who were primed to be supportive and kind, he learned that if he wanted to be friends with other people, that he needed to show interest in things they were interested in. Now that sounds really simple for people who are neurotypical, but for someone who's neurodiverse, it's a really profound moment to be able to take, it's like a theory of mind moment, to be able to take perspective. It's really powerful what we get to do in people's lives.
Why you?
Oh, great question. I am so honored that God called me to work with people with disabilities. I have been really touched in my young life. I just happened to have a couple of friends with disabilities along the way. Even though I grew up in a time when kids were mostly segregated, they were a few kids in my neighborhood with Down syndrome and that kind of thing. And just, I like to hang out with them and spend time with them. I married a man whose sister had, she passed away, but she had Down syndrome. And I also am the mother of a child with mild moderate disabilities. And I know that in my life, I'm just really honored to have people with disabilities as friends, that I feel like it's something that helps our communities to be fuller. We know, and we've all thought a lot about Matthew 25, and we've all thought about how God has called us to recognize the fullness of diversity and what the diverse church means to each of us. I've really experienced God so much in spending time with people who aren't just like me. We have this really wonderful older gentleman in our congregation who does have some intellectual disabilities, and we have a contemporary service and a very traditional service in our kind of high steeple traditional church. And at the contemporary service, at the very end of the service, people will get up and dance a little bit, and he loves this part of in fact, we all get up and dance because he likes to do it so much. And a few months ago, he was standing up in the traditional service where no one I mean, we are the frozen chosen for sure. And one of the longtime pillars of the community said in rather loud tone that my friend overheard, "Why is he standing up?" And her friend said, "Because we stand up in the other church and it's hard for him to tell the difference between the two. And if you look up there, our pastors love him and welcome him, and we can too." So to have two women in their late 80s having a conversation about disability inclusion, that's like amazing.